Foreigners, the Philani Valley residents in Umlazi, south of Durban, are denying claims by the African Solidarity Network that foreign nationals were attacked in the area over the weekend. In turn, the locals say they're blaming foreign nationals for killing 44-year-old Bhekani Madlala on Saturday. The African Solidarity Network is adamant that foreign nationals in Umlazi are under attack and has called on government to intervene. Our reporter Mlungisi Khumalo has been on the ground with the locals. Let's cross live to him for an update. Mdungwa, what update can you give us this morning?
Okay, I'm glad, Desiree, you said that is the attack towards foreign nationals, and in fact you have not called it xenophobia, because you recall that yesterday the Minister of International Relations as well as the Minister of Police, Mr. Bhekani, actually condemned the recent attacks on foreigners. In fact, they said that there were some criminal elements involved in where foreign nationals were being attacked both in the Philani Valley as well in the Benwood informal settlements. Now, we've also moved away from Philani Valley in Umlazi. We are now currently in Sherwood, Sinam, just in Durban. Now, I do not know if you can see just closely, just behind me, that is actually a makeshift transit camp which is currently housing a few foreign nationals from Malawi. Now we understand that not long from now, the ambassador of Malawi, or rather the commissioner of Malawi, would actually make her way to this transit camp and engage with some of the Malawian foreign nationals who are currently here. Now we understand that most of them were actually staying at the Benwood informal settlements. And of course we understand that last week there was a fight between a foreign national as well as a South African national. And because of that, it spiraled out of control, and whereby some of these foreign nationals from Malawi thought that because of that particular fight, they were also going to be attacked by other South African locals in the area. But now we've just found out from some of the locals in the area in the Benwood informal settlements. We spoke to them yesterday. They said no, the foreign nationals from Malawi should actually make their way back into the informal settlements, and that they will look after them because they are African brothers and sisters. Now, we also understand that as we speak currently right now, the UN Commissioner for Refugees is also currently holding a high-level meeting with the various stakeholders which are involved, which also includes the Bhekani municipality as well as the Africa Solidarity Network. Now, we understand that arrangements are underway to try and make sure that some of these foreign nationals are reintegrated back into their community. Earlier on, we were at Umlazi, where we also engaged with some of the locals there. We also understand that now at around 2 o'clock this afternoon, another meeting will be held by the locals and some of the foreign nationals, where an olive branch will be extended. And also, quite interesting enough, we understand that some of the foreigners that are actually here actually wrote a letter to some of the locals in the Benwood area. Now, the contents of the letters are as follows. What they are basically saying is they apologize if some of their foreign brothers and sisters committed a crime in that particular community, and they said that they hope that when they be reintegrated back into the community, they can actually live in harmony. Now, as we speak, we understand that their belongings as well as their shops have not been looted. Yes, we understand that some of their locals, we are in solidarity with them, are actually looking after their belongings as well. And also during yesterday's meeting or engagement between Minister Lindiwe Sisulu and Bhekani, who also met with the ambassadors of the various African countries, we also understand through that meeting alone, it was concluded that some of the attacks that transpired in the province of KwaZulu-Natal were not xenophobic attacks or Afrophobia for that case, but were just criminal elements. Now, we also understand that the president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, has also entered the fray, calling upon South Africans to practice calm and also to tolerate their African brothers and sisters, saying that during the time for the liberation in South Africa, during the time where liberation fighters were actually fighting against the apartheid movement, some of these African countries such as Tanzania, your Malawi, your Zimbabwe, your Swaziland, as well as your Zambia, they actually housed and looked after the freedom fighters at that particular time. So, of course, we also understand as well that the mayor of eThekwini, Zanele Gumede, was also here on Saturday to visit this makeshift camp, and her message was very clear. These people should be reintegrated back into the community, and they should be calm. Over back to you, Studio Desiree.
Mlungisi, this update that you've just given is so important for more than one reason. The fact that you've outlined the source of the fighting, what actually happened, how this all started, but we're also talking about the visible resolution of the problem. That is so important.
Yeah, of course, I mean, you also remember that in the year 2015, if I'm not mistaken, xenophobic attacks actually spiraled out of control, in particular in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. What we saw back then was extremely unpleasant. As one particular stage, we saw a foreign national that was necklaced and was actually torched alive. And also, whilst talking about that, I might want to add and also emphasize that there has been some pictures on social media that have been making rounds. Now, some of those pictures on the social media are actually saying that foreigners are currently being attacked. Their shops are being looted. Some of them are actually being burnt alive. Now, I want to put that on record. That is actually not true. Foreigners have not been killed currently. Now, we understand, Desiree, that in Umlazi, in particular, on Saturday night, 44-year-old Bhekani Madlala was attacked. Now, it's believed that he was attacked by foreign nationals. And we also understand that in the area of Benwood, we understand that there was a fight that transpired between a foreign national as well as a South African. And because of that, foreigners were actually scared, thinking that it was going to spiral out of control and they were going to be attacked. And hence, we know the word xenophobic attacks actually comes into play. But also, just to also put it on record, that NGOs as well as government officials have gone all out to try and talk of peace, to try and ensure that South African locals as well as foreigners are actually living in peace currently as we speak, Desiree.
Mlungisi, this process of reintegration that you talk about, do you have any timelines for us?
Well, reintegration is actually quite a long process. Now, it's a process that will involve locals, it will involve governments, it will involve the various ambassadors of the other countries. It needs them to sit down and engage and analyze the situation and look at the various options that will be available in terms of reintegrating these foreign nationals back into their community. Currently, there isn't a timeline, but we understand that government is racing against time, rather, to try and ensure that these foreign nationals go back into their communities and they continue with their lives. I understand, as we speak currently, that there is currently a makeshift as well, which is at the Durban CBD, namely at the Diakonia Center. Now, as we speak, I understand that last night, in fact, there was a meeting among some of the foreigners, and they took a resolution that it is about time that they made their way back at the Philani Valley and try to be reintegrated back into their community. So there isn't a really specific time frame, but I understand that government is racing against time to ensure that they are reintegrated back into their community. Now, you also understand that this would actually work in government's favor, as government wants to ensure that misinformation is not articulated in other parts of the country, whereby people might mistranslate what is happening and might also want to attack foreigners as well. But yes, we can confirm again that these were not xenophobic attacks. Now, that was according to the Minister of International Relations, Lindiwe Sisulu. These were just criminal elements seeking to loot shops that belong to foreigners. But of course, we will keep you updates on the story, especially when this makeshift camp just behind me moves and the foreigners are reintegrated back into their communities. As we understand that most of them actually own shops and most of them have families, and most of them, in fact, most importantly, have children that are attending schools around the area.
Well, I call him Mtungwa, but a little birdie tells me he's called News Bay. Mlungisi Khumalo, thank you so much for that update.